She's pretty, she's confident, and she can cook. Hello and welcome. I'm Ruchi Mukherjee, your Houston correspondent, catching up with the much acclaimed Indika restaurant co-owner, Anita Jaisinghani. This is Life Bytes.
I made gobi just with some onions and some tomatoes, and here I'm making a besan ka chilla. Do you know what that is? Okay. That's exactly what I'm making for breakfast. And I'm gonna put some cheese in there and some of the gobi and some fresh greens, and that's gonna be lunch/breakfast.
Great, that's what I'm making.
And some chai.
Sometime back you'd said that you loved cooking, and that inspired you to have Indika. Tell us about it.
Well, it wasn't just that I loved cooking. I loved cooking, but what I didn't like was the way Indian food was portrayed in the US. That's what led me more to open. I love to cook at home, and that was easy to do. What was hard to figure out is I want to put this food out so people understand there's much more to Indian food than what they've seen in restaurants. So that was the main, I think the inspiration behind opening a restaurant was to put out food that I felt was home-driven, but created in America because we're not in India. There's so much here that I didn't want to not use. So that's what I did. I came up with a menu that had, to me, I call it, Indian food with American sensibility. So I'm using American ingredients because I couldn't not use them, but I'm still keeping the authenticity of the cuisine.
Who is Anita? What is she as a mother, as a woman?
I think of myself as a mother first before I think of myself as a restaurateur or a chef, because that's one role. Once you give birth to your kids, that's the most important thing I'll do is be a mother. And I attempt to do my best, and I struggle with it sometimes. But I have two children. My daughter goes to school at UT Austin, studying architecture, and my son is studying economics at UMass at Amherst. And I actually raised them through the original restaurant. I was a single mom then, so it had its challenges. I was running a business and raising two teenage kids, going to public school. So they used to be in Auty before that, and they moved out of there. And they went to Memorial when I opened up in 2001, and now they're both in college, and they both turned out great, so I guess I did something right.
So what, according to you, is an ideal modern Indian woman?
Oh, that's interesting. To me, I don't think it matters if you're Indian or from anywhere. I don't think that's kind of limiting. I think a modern woman is one that is just well connected with herself and knows what she wants and kind of can run her own life without being dependent on anybody. But yes, it's great to have people in your life. So I guess I consider that. And to me, it crosses all racial and ethnic barriers, how a woman should be. And I think Indian women are getting more and more independent. For me, from a life of what I was to now is a complete, about turn from, I was married when I was 20 and went through a divorce after 20 years. So, and then, but it's been good. My ex-husband and I get along really well. We own the Indika together, and our kids stayed grounded because of that, and we were able to keep in touch with them more, so there was not the usual fighting that happens in divorces. So but I've emerged out of that, and I'm trying to get my own life, and I'm on my way to opening a second restaurant, so I'm working on that now.
So do you have to be a social butterfly to get...
I'm the most antisocial person in town. I never go to any events. That's nothing. I was told that I had to become a member of the associations in town, and I didn't join a single association because even giving up one Monday night a month meant there was one day less I spent with my kids. I only had Sundays and Mondays off. We were closed Sunday, Monday all day, and those were my 2 days with my kids. And I had made up my mind that I was not going to compromise that. So I didn't I socialize zero. I have a very tiny group of friends that I see. Everything we have is word of mouth. I've had more than about 80 articles written about the restaurant. I've had 10 national papers and magazines come in and do major stories about us. And I think that has been, and it's all, we have no, people, once someone called me and asked me, like, who is your PR agent? I said, I don't have a PR agent. We don't have the money to give, what these PR agents would charge. So I really have put my attention on my plate, which is, I think, what really matters. And I figured if I do that, the rest will come, and it has. I mean, normally people like us, we're in an obscure little place at the old place. We were in the back of this building. You couldn't even find us. And, from the USA Today to the New York Times to Time Magazine found us there.
So what do you do other than, of course, cooking is would you watch movies?
I'm not a big movie. I can't keep the attention span for most movies. I get over them within a few minutes. So I'm not very good with movies. I've seen a few. I do see a few. My daughter, wants to be a movie star, so I better get into movies soon. And I read a lot, and I do yoga, and I'm I guess reading, and I like to travel.
So who's your favorite Bollywood movie star?
Oh, my favorite Bollywood movie star used to be Shabana Azmi. I thought her movies were amazing. She's a tremendous actress. I'd probably say she's one of my favorites. Smita Patil I used to watch, when I was in India. She has some great movies. I like all the art movies. I'm not into the mainstream movies as much. My daughter loves to watch all the Bollywood movies with Aishwarya Rai, so I will sit through them with her. But I don't watch those a whole lot. But I'd probably say Shabana Azmi.
Any embarrassing moment?
Oh, plenty. Like with spinach stuck in my teeth when I walk out, and I'm talking and smiling at people, and I have this huge green thing in my mouth, and I come back to the kitchen and my kids or the waitstaff will say, you have spinach on your teeth. I'm like, nah, you tell me. So I've stuck a mirror now that there's a tiny mirror exactly at my mouth height, and it's on the side of our ice machine, and I can check my teeth before I walk outside. Because I'm always eating food, things like that.
Well, before we wrap up, I'll have to, if you were the president for a day, what would you do? What changes would you make?
Oh, and the way people eat. Everybody should read this book out there by Michael Pollan. It's a book called The Omnivore's Dilemma. Everybody needs to read that book. All adults in this country need to read that book to understand how we eat. And I think I would certainly be behind the food. It's you end up being what you are. You end up being what you eat, And I think this country just eats terribly. Most of the people in this country. So I would change the way people ate.
My next one would be, say, Amitabh Bachchan and Aishwarya Rai got lost and they knocked at your door and they walked in. What would you feed them, and what would your reaction be right if they stepped in? So what would you do?
Oh, welcome them in. We are really bad with movie stars because we had some movie stars at Indika. I didn't even recognize them. Raveena Tandon and the Rahman and some... I know there's been a few that we... then there is the one in Katie that was there, and we didn't know she was there. The movie star from Katie.
Renee
Zellweger, thank you. I would welcome them in, and I would feed them whatever I could pull out of my refrigerator if they were hungry. I'd make them a cup of chai first, or a glass of wine, depending on the time of day. But yeah, I would be delighted to see them.
Your daughter definitely will jump off.
Oh, she'd love to see them. Yeah, no doubt.
Well, it's a wrap. My guest today has been an absolute pleasure. Anita Jaisinghani continues to appetize Houstonians with her delicacies. I'm Ruchi Mukherjee. Thanks for being with us on this edition of Bytes. See you next time.